hospital was unusually quiet that evening. The soft hum of machines and distant footsteps filling the sterile halls. But all that changed in a heartbeat when a small, trembling puppy bolted through the double doors of the emergency room. Its tiny paws skittering across the linoleum floor, eyes wide and brimming with tears, as if it carried a message no one could ignore. Moments later, the entire facility was thrown into chaos. Alarms blaring and police officers rushing in, surrounding the hospital with flashing blue and red lights, cutting through the dusk like a beacon of urgency. But behind all the noise and commotion lay a deeply human story, one of fear, courage, and the unbreakable bond between a creature desperate for help and the people who would stop at nothing to protect it. It all began with Dr. Elena Martinez, a compassionate veterinarian known for her unwavering dedication to her patients, who had been quietly finishing her rounds when the small pup burst into the emergency room, crying out in distress. Its fur soaked and matted, a mixture of dirt and dried blood staining its once snowy coat. Elena immediately recognized the signs. This was no ordinary accident or injury, but something far darker. And instinctively, she dropped everything to tend to the frightened creature, her heart pounding as she realized this was the start of something far bigger than she ever imagined. The puppy's story spilled out in broken barks and frantic gestures, leading Elena to a trail of clues that soon unraveled a sinister plot involving illegal dog fighting rings operating just beyond the city limits, networks of cruelty hidden beneath layers of secrecy and fear. While Elena worked tirelessly to stabilize the puppy, now named Hope, police coordinated with hospital security, doctors, and animal welfare advocates to prepare for the storm that was coming. The investigation spreading like wildfire through the community. Meanwhile, Hope's presence stirred something in the hospital staff and visitors alike. Nurses who had grown weary of the endless stream of human trauma found renewed purpose in caring for this fragile life. Patients whose own battles with illness paused to offer gentle smiles or quiet prayers, and families who gathered in hushed clusters, their conversations filled with whispered hopes and questions about the puppy's fate. As hours passed, the tension mounted outside and inside the hospital walls. Police barricaded entrances, forensic teams arrived to gather evidence, and media vans lined the street, broadcasting the unfolding drama to an audience riveted by the unexpected heroism of a small, frightened animal. Dr. Martinez, guided by years of experience and an unshakable resolve, became the heart of the operation, coordinating with detectives, animal rescue groups, and local shelters to ensure that Hope and the dozens of other dogs believed to be trapped in the cruel underground world would have a chance at freedom and healing. Each day brought new challenges, threats from those desperate to protect their illicit enterprise, the emotional toll of witnessing the scars, both visible and invisible, that abuse leaves on innocent creatures, painstaking process of rebuilding trust with animals who had known only pain. Yet amid the struggle, moments of grace shone through. The wagging tails of rehabilitated dogs greeting their rescuers, the quiet gratitude in the eyes of survivors, and the unspoken bonds forged between humans and canines who relied on one another for strength. For Elena, the story was deeply personal. As a child, she had rescued her own dog from a life of neglect, a memory that fueled her relentless pursuit of justice for these voiceless victims. The hospital, once a place defined by sterile routines and clinical detachment, became a sanctuary, a beacon of hope, where love, courage, and compassion triumphed over darkness. The community rallied, volunteers arriving in droves to support the rescue and rehabilitation efforts. Fundraisers launched to provide medical care, and local authorities committed to cracking down on the criminal networks that preyed on the most vulnerable. Hope, the little puppy who ran into that emergency room crying for help, grew stronger each day, her playful spirit a testament to resilience and the healing power of kindness. And as the investigation unfolded, leading to arrests and the liberation of countless animals, the story of that night became a symbol, reminding everyone that sometimes even the smallest voice can spark a movement, that courage is found in unexpected places, and that the heart of a dog, no matter how battered, can shine brighter than the darkest night. In the end, the hospital was more than just a building. It was a living, breathing testament to the deep connections we share with our canine companions. Stories of survival and hope woven into its very walls, echoing the message that love and justice can heal even the deepest wounds, one paw step at a time. As the days rolled on, the hospital transformed into an epicenter of hope and tension, a place where every corridor echoed with whispered conversations about hope and the broader rescue mission unfolding beyond the sterile walls. Dr. Elena Martinez, though exhausted from endless shifts and emotional strain, refused to relinquish her determination, her hands steady as she cared for hope and coordinated with law enforcement to track down the shadowy figures behind the underground dog fighting ring, a sinister world that preyed on innocent creatures hidden just beneath the surface of the community she loved. While police detectives worked tirelessly, chasing leads and piecing together a puzzle of cruelty and betrayal, Elena found herself drawn not only to the task at hand, but to the quiet moments with hope, whose timid trust blossomed slowly, her wagging tail and brightening eyes a living testament to resilience in the face of unspeakable hardship. Hospital staff, once strangers, now banded together like family, each playing a vital role from comforting frightened animals to managing the influx of concerned volunteers and media attention. The hospital buzzing with a strange mix of urgency and warmth. As the world watched a small puppy's desperate plea spark a movement that stretched far beyond the ER out into the city, into the hearts of people who chose compassion over indifference. Outside, the police presence tightened, a visible reminder of the stakes involved as armored vehicles and officers secured the perimeter, their faces set with determination to dismantle the brutal operation at its core. Undercover agents infiltrated known locations, mapping the networks of those who profited from suffering, while prosecutors prepared for a case that would send a clear message that cruelty to animals would no longer be tolerated. Meanwhile, Hope's journey from a scared, trembling puppy to a symbol of survival inspired countless individuals who visited the hospital or followed the story through news outlets and social media. Messages of support poured in from strangers touched by the courage of one little dog who dared to run for help, whose tears became the catalyst for justice. Elena often found herself overwhelmed by the outpouring of kindness, but grounded by the knowledge that the fight was far from over, that many more lives hung in the balance, and that each rescue was a fragile victory against an entrenched darkness. In the quiet moments after her shifts, Elena reflected on the tangled web of emotions that had drawn her here: the anger at the cruelty she witnessed, the sorrow for those who had suffered, and the fierce hope kindled by each tail wag, each tentative lick of a hand extended in friendship. She knew that healing would take time, not just for the animals, but for the people who loved them, and for the community scarred by the revelations. Max, a large, gentle golden retriever who belonged to one of the hospital's security officers, became an unofficial ambassador of comfort, his calm presence easing the nerves of new arrivals and offering silent reassurance in the midst of chaos. Luna, the spirited wolf pup recently rescued from a nearby wildlife preserve, was also brought in to assist in socializing the dogs, her wild yet trusting nature bridging the gap between the frightened and the hopeful. The hospital's veterinary wing expanded rapidly, with new equipment donated by local businesses and animal lovers who wanted to be part of the healing process. Animal behaviorists and trainers volunteered their time, teaching staff and volunteers how to understand and nurture traumatized animals, fostering environments where fear could be replaced with trust. Elena's nights were filled with dreams that alternated between the hopeful wag of Hope's tail and the haunting cries of dogs left behind, fueling her resolve. She knew that her role was not just to heal wounds, but to advocate for change, to challenge a system that allowed such horrors to exist, and to inspire others to see the value in every life. The media attention brought pressure, but also opportunity. Elena and law enforcement used the spotlight to raise awareness, organizing community forums, educational campaigns, and fundraisers, transforming pain into purpose and rallying a coalition of veterinarians, animal rights activists, lawmakers, and citizens committed to ending the cruelty. Slowly, the investigation bore fruit. The arrests of key players sent ripples through the underground network, rescuing dozens of dogs who were taken to the hospital and various shelters for care and rehabilitation. Each new arrival carried a story, sometimes wordless, but told through eyes that spoke of fear, endurance, and an unyielding will to survive. The hospital's corridors became a sanctuary where scars slowly faded and hope grew stronger. Volunteers shared stories of dogs learning to trust again. Children visited to meet the survivors, their laughter mingling with the quiet contentment of animals finding safety at last. Local artists and writers chronicled the saga, weaving the tale of hope and the rescue into the fabric of the community's identity. Through it all, Elena's connection with hope deepened, the puppy's transformation mirroring the healing that Elena herself felt within, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, light can break through, and bonds of love can rebuild what was broken. Hope's playful antics, the gentle way she rested her head on Elena's knee, the sparkle in her eyes when a visitor offered a gentle scratch behind the ears, all became symbols of triumph over adversity. And while the investigation continued, with some suspects evading capture and challenges still ahead, the hospital stood as a beacon, a testament to what compassion and determination could achieve when people united for a cause greater than themselves. The ripple effects extended beyond the immediate rescue, inspiring legislative efforts for stronger animal protection laws and fostering a community culture that valued kindness, empathy, and justice. Elena often thought about the night Hope ran crying into the emergency room, how one small act of desperation led to a revolution of care and courage. It reminded her that heroes come in many forms, sometimes a fierce police officer, sometimes a determined veterinarian, sometimes a silent dog who simply refused to give up. Their stories intertwined, creating a tapestry of hope that would endure for generations. In the end, the hospital was no longer just a place of healing for humans, but a sanctuary where all creatures could find refuge, where stories of pain transformed into tales of resilience, and where the light of hope shone brightest in the eyes of those who had endured the darkest nights. The journey was far from over, but with every wagging tail and every life saved, the promise of a kinder world grew ever stronger. One paw step at a time as weeks turned into months. The ripple effects of that fateful night, when Hope ran crying into the emergency room, continued to grow, transforming the lives of everyone touched by her story and igniting a profound change that extended far beyond the hospital walls. Dr. Elena Martinez, now both a tireless healer and a passionate advocate, found herself navigating a world where compassion met justice, where every rescued dog became a testament to the indomitable spirit of survival and the power of love, a power that no cruelty could extinguish, no darkness could overshadow. Hope, once a frightened and broken puppy, blossomed into a symbol of resilience and hope. Her gentle nature and unwavering trust inspiring the hospital staff and the community alike to believe in the possibility of redemption and healing. The cases against the cruel perpetrators of the dogfighting ring moved forward with a strength fueled by evidence, testimonies, and the unwavering commitment of the police officers who refused to let this story be forgotten. Even as challenges arose from those desperate to keep their secrets hidden throughout this battle, the bonds between humans and canines deepened. Whether it was Elena working late into the night, soothing an anxious dog, or officers training specially with K9 units to track down those who endangered innocent lives, the hospital became a sanctuary not only for physical healing, but for emotional restoration. Therapy dogs visited patients. Children learned empathy through interactions with the survivors. And countless volunteers dedicated hours to helping every animal find its way back to trust. Elena's work inspired a city-wide movement, prompting new laws that strengthened protections for animals and funding for shelters, creating a legacy far greater than any single rescue. For Elena, the journey was deeply personal, a calling that intertwined her past and present, reminding her that every life saved was a victory against despair. And yet, amid all the victories, the story remained grounded in the everyday moments, the soft nuzzles, the cautious first steps toward play, the quiet nights when a dog's steady breathing was a reminder of survival against all odds. Hope's presence continued to brighten the lives around her, her joyful spirit a living testament to the healing that love can bring. The once dark shadow of that night had been replaced by a dawn filled with possibility, where each rescued soul carried a message of hope. And every paw step marked a path toward a kinder, more compassionate world. As Elena watched Hope play in the hospital garden, surrounded by others whose lives had been forever changed, she knew that this was only the beginning. Because in the heart of every dog and every human who believed, there was a story waiting to be told, a bond waiting to be forged, and a future waiting to be made brighter, one paw step at a time.